back. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining me for the video today. In it, I wanted to answer the question, who is going to be the top 10 wide receivers in 2022? We're going to look at some honorable mentions as well and cover why I left them off of my list. But before we get into that, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please consider giving me a like and subscribe. I cannot thank you guys enough for all of the support. It means so very much to me. We're about halfway there to my goal of 500 subscribers. With that out of the way, let's get into this version of Hot Off the Press. The honorable mentions start with A.J. Brown, and I left Brown off the list here for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, the change in scenery that he faces in 2022 as Jalen Hurts struggled mightily with consistency in his accuracy last season. It's also likely going to take some time for those two to mesh well together. The talent is not the question here. It is his new environment and his health. When he's at 100%, Brown is one of the best in the game. But maybe his knees and that surgery that he had are the reason that Tennessee felt comfortable letting him go. Next up, it's Chris Godwin, and he is coming off of a major injury, and that is always worrisome, especially when it happens in week 15. But when you have the GOAT throwing you passes, it eases the concerns quite a bit. Godwin was absolutely dominant in the slot last season, and if he were the guy, he would have been really hard to keep off of this list. Alas, he shares the spotlight with my next player, and that's Mike Evans. Big Mike is one of the game's best wideouts in both contested catch situations and in the red zone. His 8 touchdowns inside of the 10-yard line ranked second in the league last year. He has a massive target at 6'5", 231, and he could see even more usage with Gronk out of town, at least for now. Now, he did post a career low PFF grade last year, but there is not a lot to knock on his game. DK Metcalf is next, and unfortunately for him, Russell Wilson left town, and the drop-off that he is now going to have to deal with at quarterback is astronomical. All the physical tools in the world will still not allow you to throw the ball to yourself, and I expect a large drop-off in efficiency and production from Metcalf this season. He does have the talent to overcome it to an extent, but just not enough to get him into my top 10. The last one on my list before we get to the top 10 is Nuke Hopkins, and look, we all know the deal with Nuke, but the guy at least deserves an honorable mention. He's a top 10 talent at the position in his sleep and as one of the league's best young quarterbacks throwing him passes. But being doomed to miss over a third of the year before it even starts disqualifies him from my list. He's gonna ball once he's back on the field, but it's gonna be too late to catch this top 10. As always, I'm gonna start my way at 10, work my way down to my number 1 wideout, and this list starts with T. Higgins. Now, injuries played a major role in his slow start in 2021, but once he was healthy, he came on with a vengeance. Higgins has the size and athleticism to beat almost any corner to the ball, and he knows how to use his body to create separation. He finished the season on fire, ranking in the top 5 of all wideouts from week 12 onward. In 4 out of those 6 games, he surpassed 100 yards, including an 194-yard, 2-touchdown explosion against Baltimore. His rapport with Joe Burrow is only getting better, and having Jamar Chase pulling coverage only makes guarding him harder. As the go-to target in the red zone, in this high-octane Bengals passing attack, double-digit touchdowns are a very real possibility. Last year's PFF ranking was no fluke. This kid is the real deal. To 9, and it's Terry McLaurin, and they call him Scary Terry for a reason. McLaurin is a nightmare to try and guard and had more contested catches than anyone else in the league. His body control is excellent, as are his hands. Terry dropped just 2.5% of his passes in 2021. That was one of the lowest rates in the league. While I absolutely hate, and I mean hate, the change of quarterback here to Carson Wentz, it is not like McLaurin had an all-pro throwing him passes before it. Sorry, Mr. Bud Lighty. Wentz should at least be a slight upgrade, and McLaurin will go over 1,000 yards for the 3rd consecutive year. At 8, it is CeeDee Lamb, and when all is said and done, this could certainly be too low for Lamb. but I definitely want to see more first. As the newly minted number 1 in Dallas's offense, I'm sure that I will. Amari Cooper leaving paves the way for more opportunities here, and I expect Dak to go Lamb's way a ton. When he does, Lamb is going to be a problem. He's extremely difficult to bring down, and he broke 19 tackles and under 80 catches last season. CeeDee is really versatile too, showcasing an ability on both the slot and outside where he absolutely dominated. When he was lined out wide, Lamb earned the 4th best receiving grade in the league. Dallas is going to score a ton once again, and Lamb is going to be a major part of that. A little bit of improvement in the efficiency department for him in 2022 could skyrocket Lamb to the top 5. At 7, it is Tyreek Hill, and we will start here. Anytime you go from an all-world quarterback to one that has a lot left to prove, it is concerning. However, I was a Tua Tagovailoa supporter all year, and I am not about to turn back now. Tua is no Mahomes, but he doesn't have to be to mesh with Hill's game. Speed is the name of the game here, and Miami already found creative ways to get Jalen Waddle included in this last year. They can do the same with Hill, and it'll be easier for the Finns to create mismatches in the secondary with both of these guys on the field. Hill is a terror with the ball in his hands and nearly impossible to bring down with just one guy. Not only will the deep threat be in the back of defenders' minds, but Hill is going to keep the chains moving as well. His 75 first downs last year ranked number 3 in the league, and that is exactly the type of help that you want to give your developing quarterback. I do not love the move here for Hill, but I think it works out just fine, and he continues to be one of the league's best. Deebo Samuel is in at number 6, and he's one of the league's most electrifying players. He is the best Swiss Army knife ever created. He not only dominated the league through the air, but he was its most efficient rusher too. There are few who are better after the catch, and the speed that he displays keeps defensive coordinators up at night. Samuel averaged a ridiculous 10.2 yards after the catch per reception in 2021. Now, grumpy or not, Samuel is going to produce in a big way next year. Over 30% of his targets resulted in gains of over 15 yards. That is absolute insanity. I am not really concerned here about the transition to Trey Lance either, as the two seem to mesh well in week 4 against Seattle when Samuels racked up 156 yards and a pair of scores with the rookie coming in for an injured Jimmy G. Into my top 5, and it is Stefon Diggs here. And we already know that he has an absolutely amazing quarterback and probably the best in the league for my money right now. Diggs has put up incredible numbers over his 2 years in Buffalo, even though he started slow last season. He can run all of the routes, he has incredible speed, especially in the short areas, and he has a great catch radius, especially for his size. His hands are awesome, and he is going to be a stud in 2022. Justin Jefferson is my number 4 guy, and it has been quite a career start for Jefferson, who followed out one of the greatest rookie campaigns in league history with an even more excellent encore. His 3,016 yards through his first 2 years broke Odell Beckham's previous record by over 250 yards. There is no one in the league better against press coverage than Jefferson, who had 3.29 yards per route run in those situations. That was number 1 by half a yard. It was not even close. Jefferson displays the route running savvy of a seasoned veteran. He has elite body control and stick-'em hands. The sky is the limit for this kid, and Kirk Cousins finally realizes it, feeding him 167 targets in 2021. Hopefully, Jefferson gets the Cooper Kupp treatment in 2022. With 200 targets, Jefferson might just break another big-time record. It reminds me of the good old days with the poor saps out there getting mossed every week. Jamar Chase headlines my top 3, and I mean, how lucky was Joe Burrow to have both Jefferson and Chase to throw to at the same time? It was no wonder that LSU team was the best offensive juggernaut in the history of college football. Now, there really is nothing that Chase can't do. He has the strength, release, ball skills, run after the catch ability, and speed in both the short and the long game to dominate defenses. He led the league with 868 yards against single coverage in 2021, and he came within 18 yards of breaking Bill Groham's 60-year-old record of receiving yardage as a rookie. Chase is going to be a staple in the top 5 for a very long time, and pairing him with Joe Burrow only makes him more dangerous. At 2, it is Davante Adams, and I almost couldn't do it, but the change to Vegas was enough for me to drop Adams 1 spot. He's been the number 1 ranked receiver, according to PFF, of each of the last 2 seasons, so if you disagree with me, I totally get it. I just feel like the loss of Rodgers here is going to hurt a little bit, and my next guy does not have this issue. Davante Adams is as smooth as they come. His route running and release are exquisite, and his ability to contort his body is a game changer. His production over the last 2 years is unmatched. And I have no doubt that he's going to elevate Derek Carr and the Raiders offense as a whole as soon as he takes the field. He is good enough to bypass any growing pains in transition to a new offense, and having his old college teammate throwing him passes helps in that aspect too. I just have to show a little bit of respect to the final guy on my list, and the numero uno wide receiver in 2022 is my little Cooper Kupp. And what he put together in 2021 was on another level. Point blank. Nearly going for 2,000 yards and a tutty a game is ludicrous. So to top the year off with a Super Bowl victory and an MVP was a perfect end to the story. And honestly, he deserved the league MVP more than Aaron Rodgers did too, although he was not alone there. Kupp can dissect a defense better than anyone, and he has Jedi Master level mind game ability. He can beat you in so many ways and has an incredible connection with Matthew Stafford, who's now thrown to each of the top 2 players as far as receiving yards in a single season over the course of his career. Coincidence? I think not. Kupp had less than 90 receiving yards in a game one time all of last season, and he had 100 plus in 11 games. I could go for days with the numbers. There are way too many good ones to choose from. He has earned this top spot, and he will be the best wide receiver in 2022. And with that, I'm gonna call it a day. I really hope you guys enjoyed the content, and I hope you learned something. If you guys are new to the channel, please consider giving me a like and subscribe. I cannot thank you enough for all of your support. It means so very much, and it helps me out a bunch. If there's any content that I haven't brought forth that you are waiting for, please drop those comments down below. Also, if you agree or disagree with my list, I want to hear about it. It is why I do these videos. This is Relentless Press. I'm your host, Abraham Opatz, and we'll see you next time.